Yeah, so what I did was I'll zoom in on the voltage over here because it's going to start going up back to normal. It's already at 13. That's how short of a time it needs to recover. So what I did, guys, basically I shut the inverter off on this guy, the blue power pack, and I moved the charger over to my other battery that wasn't doing much. It's still sitting at 14 float. So I'm gonna go check on him, see what he's at, and go from there. But yeah, that battery charger does put a strain on my solar system, so that's why I'm definitely gonna need a bigger battery bank for sure. Another reason why I want that. Okay, the other one's down to 12.8 already. So that thing just gobbles the power up. And then the other guy's getting back up to 13 and float. And he's still on, he's got a load from the grow light and the fan going in the shower there. Experiment. But this guy's going strong, and hopefully that will finish charging that beast fairly quickly. Eventually, I do have the I have this power strip that I actually won, 120 volt power strip, and there it is there. It's got a whole whack of receptacles. There's just a gutter guard sitting on top of it. But basically, I'm gonna set it up so it'll be like a charging station. So it'll have my batteries and stuff plugged into that, and then that'll be obviously this whole strip will be plugged into an inverter, and then that inverter will be run off the large solar system, so on and so forth. And I think I'm going to I'll have the fridge plugged into that power strip, and a bunch of other 120 volt devices like chargers, radios, stuff like that. Just so, you know, that's like the dedicated load spot out back here. Now, for the tiny house, I'm pretty positive that the my fridge, that's 120 volt, will be back will have to be back here permanently, which is fine. I guess, like, I don't see a problem with it, and as close to the inverter as possible, basically, because the shortest run is the best when it comes to electricity. So we'll have to work on that. And then, yeah, I got Mike's aquaponics set up right here, so I'd probably want this set up somewhere back here as well, and have the ultraviolet or the grow lights shooting down onto the pebbles here, the grow medium, and then have that across from the fridge somewhere, and then finally, hopefully, get my work table cleared back off after just dominating it with a mess here. It's completely covered, so it's like one of these things. Still not sure what I'm going to do with this big thickness of foam. I may just chop it up and put it on the base as the base for the foundation for those batteries. Give it more insulation, because that's quite thick. Plus, it's already going to have this thickness as well. So I think I may do that, because cold is the enemy of the battery. That is for sure. What else? Yeah, so kind of at a standstill at the moment. Kind of sucks. Just waiting for everything to charge up. I should go check it again, because it was quite low when we last looked. Whoa. Yeah, I don't want to kill myself going through the walkway there, so I gotta clear that space off. Okay, it's charged after a good half hour in switching between batteries. So let's turn the light on, see what, okay, see I know it's charged because he's just sitting here floating. When I say float, it means they're full, guys, so they got excess power, and this guy's just crawling back up. So okay, so I can turn the inverter off on this power pack. This is the guy who finished it off. Pull that plug. Okay, so that battery for the drill is charged up. Good stuff. I can turn the lights back on now. Let's go ahead and do that. And I'll throw this power pack into the drill, and we'll be good. Alrighty. Sweet. So that's good. Kind of stalled out my work. So yeah, now that that's done, guys, everything's pretty much cool now. Lumber. I have a couple strips of this stuff here, and that's not much, and then I got my full sheet, and what else? Yeah, I gotta ask High-Tech I-18 Stu something, because I probably won't be using these aluminum angle irons that I made up for my solar anymore. I need to ask him if this is thick enough, one of these angle irons, to have as my basically my connection block for my battery bank. And what do I mean by that, guys? I'm basically, let me set the camera up, and I'm gonna go over this, and then Stu will either tell me no or try it or whatever, but we'll see. So I'm gonna pull one of these out. So this is aluminum angle iron that if you watched my earlier videos, this stuff is actually up on the tiny house roof holding, it's my design I made for my solar panels up there. They've been up for a year, no issues, other than the middle sags a little bit, so I put some 2x4s under the flat to hold it. So anyway, enough about that. If you guys want to see that video, check it. It's in the solar playlist on my YouTube channel. Check that out. Give it a thumbs up too while you're there. So this being no longer usable for that, let's say, basically what I want to do is do a little demonstration for you guys. So here is one of my battery terminal blocks. This goes on the positive pole of the batteries I will be getting, and here is the connection terminal for the wiring. Okay, and then this has the for the pole has its own little tightener, so it's tight to the pole already. So the goal is, when we have a row of batteries sitting in front of this aluminum bar, we're going to take the heaviest gauge wire I can get my hands on without breaking the bank, which would be pretty tough. And I basically, now to make this work right, because of the position of the terminal here, I have to go sideways. I have to put my connections on sideways this way, because if I went like this, there's this little brass thing sticking up, tab, so obviously they're gonna have to go like this. That's no big deal, because the pole, even if all the positives are facing towards the wall or towards this way, you can still spin this 360 degrees because this is on the pole of the battery. So anyway, we're gonna have, let's say this is our battery box setup right here. We have our angle iron, aluminum, we have a bunch of batteries, and then we're gonna have our pole here, guys. This is this will be all positives all across here. I'm going to take a connector, a heavy gauge wire like 0 AWG, and as short as possible, and run it and connect it to the aluminum bar. And this whole aluminum bar will be positive only. Okay? And then on the ends, I can hook up inverters, and also I also have to hook up the well, basically the solar coming in to repower the batteries. So the solar has to run into this aluminum as well. Now the only thing is, the only concern I really have is this aluminum beefy enough? And High Tech Guy Stu, I'm sure, will give me a clue as to whether I need thicker or not. Thicker material. And this will act as a bus bar, basically, guys. So we'll have a positive bus bar and a negative bus bar. And what this will do, it allows me to do quite a few things. Save on the super heavy gauge copper wire that is super expensive. So I can go from my terminals to that aluminum bar in a very short span, which makes things more efficient. And then the aluminum bar acts as the wire from there on out. And then everything kind of, that aluminum bar takes over the much needed heavy gauge wire to handle all these, you know, the amps. So we'll see what happens. We'll see what Stu says on that. And if I gotta get a thicker one, I will. I'll have to get two. So actually what I'll do is, if I do have to get a thicker one, I'll go to the same place where I got these and I'll ask for the thickest possible, and also just get me a full length of 8 foot and just have them cut it in half. That way I can have 4 foot span and a 4 foot span across here. Let me just see how much 4 feet is across this span, because I don't want it to be too short. They may have to go 12 feet full length. Oh yeah. Yeah, they're gonna have to go more than that. It's gonna have to be at least 6 feet, guys, I think. So they'll have to go, I'll have to order a 12 foot length of the heavy stuff, heavy thick aluminum, if that's what Stu recommends. And then I'll have them cut it in half, and then I should be good. So hopefully that works. We'll see. Now lugs, I got some lugs here. Let's see if they fit onto the connector. Barely. So I just got to ream these out a little bit, tad, just for them to fasten. But that's not a big deal. So, getting a little bit closer on battery box plans here, guys. And not too bad, I don't think. That's pretty good. So I'm going to be back in a sec. We're back up to 13.7 on the big battery. And we'll see you guys in a little bit.